mysterious, what is a seemingly normal photo that has a disturbing backstory? Mothman said. The leading image on Franklin Delano Floyd's Wikipedia page, a father and his daughter posing for a family photo. In actuality, the little girl is Floyd's stepdaughter, Suzanne Marie Sevickas, who he'd kidnapped around 1974, when Suzanne was under 10 years old. He would go on to raise her as his daughter, putting her through high school under several pseudonyms, then have a son with her in 1981 and marry her in 1989, under the name Tanya Hughes. By 1990, Tanya Suzanne had decided to leave Floyd, and take her son, Michael, with her. In April of that year, she was found beaten and bruised on the side of the highway, and subsequently died in hospital. Michael went into foster care and was adopted by a loving family, only to be kidnapped by Floyd in 1994 and to never be seen again. Floyd was arrested in late 1994. The news about his late second wife being his kidnapped stepdaughter didn't come out until 2014. Someone rightly pointed out that Michael was not Floyd's biological son. This was only discovered when DNA testing was performed as part of Michael's adoption in 1994, when he was 4-5 years old. Presumably, up until that point, Floyd had reason to believe he was the biological father. Photos of his were found that depicted sexual exploitation of Suzanne Tanya from the age of 4. God of War 0728 said, there is a photo of an American volcanologist sitting down while studying volcanic activity at Mount St. Helens. Photo, https://upload.wikimodia.org/thumb/5b/5b/msh801_David_Johnston_18_camp_005-178_0_Meta_800px-msh80px-MSH80PX-MS David_Johnston_AT_Meta_800_Camp_005-178_0_Meta_800%28crop%29.jpg. Article, https://en.m.wiki.org/wiki/David_A._Johnston. 13 hours after the photograph was taken, on May 18, 1980, the volcano erupted and killed 57 people including the volcanologist. Reasonable Mess 54 said. John Edwards Robinson. This photo. John Edwards Robinson, yellow sweater, is holding baby Tiffany, whose mother he murdered the day before. He gave baby Tiffany to his brother, saying she was adopted. His brother, along with Tiffany, didn't find out the truth for 15 years. Soy Bun said. He was 30 feet under. How long does that take on average to swim up from? I mean geez. This sucks. Misjudged how long he could hold his breath. Edit to say I've been corrected in the comments. It was scuba, free diving, science shit, not lung user error, and just didn't make it back up. Fuck. Imagining those moments for the woman. Waiting. Where is he? He just swam away. He should be here any moment to hear my yes to his proposal. What's taking so long? And then what? She goes up to the surface from the room and sees his body? Or is it out of sight down below somewhere? Like fuck. The logistics of these moments are what make it real for me. Forseverden said. A kid went missing hiking a spot on the Big Island of Hawaii. He texted some pictures of the scenery while he was hiking. After he never showed up at home, his family noticed somebody lurking in bushes in the photos he sent. My family that live in Hawaii said the spot is illegal to hike at, so it's not like it would have been a heavily populated trail. More info, and the photo in question. https://www.hawaiinus.com/story/2840146one/family-of-missing-big-island-hiker-asking-for-public-help-TO-identify-man-photo/ Foss said. I read all of these but didn't see the relatively recent murder case of the two girls from Delphi. Libby and Abby. It's an ongoing investigation but local law enforcement released a film of their killer taken from one of the girls' phones. But also a photo of Abby walking over the railway bridge shortly before they disappeared. https:// www.courttv.com/news/the-unsolved-kill-liberty-german-abigail-williams/ Flyting 1881 said, "This looks like a stock photo of a violin. The instrument in that picture is the Hartley violin. It was owned by Wallace Hartley, the bandmaster and lead violinist on the Titanic. It was the one he carried with him on the night the ship sank." Survivors reported seeing Hartley and his band on the deck of the ship during the sinking, playing to calm passengers as they boarded the insufficient lifeboats. This is the exact instrument he played. Hartley and every member of the band died in the sinking. We have his violin because at some unknown point before his death, Hartley tucked the violin back into its monogrammed case for safekeeping. That's how it was found, floating in the debris field, by one of the ships sent to recover bodies from the wreck. They were able to identify it as Hartley's because of an engraved brass plate, and it was returned to his fiancée, who kept it until her death. Her family authenticated it and sold it for $1.6 million to an organization that collects Titanic artifacts. Official Spoon said, https://upload.wikimedia.org/wikipedia/commons/1/Lawson-portrait.jpg. The Lawson family portrait always makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. Wikipedia tells their awful tale, which has been memorialized in murder ballads. Dressed in their finest, a picture made for the holidays, and no one knowing that the father would kill most of the family days later. Brutal stuff. Sumit316 said, "This story is legit?" The Larimer County Coroner's Office said Thursday that the cause of death was drowning, but hypothermia was also a significant condition. According to the coroner's report, Naomi fell into the pond around 5 p.m. and was found some time later. On Thursday, some questioned the pond's placement, which is a few yards down a sloped hill from the Loveland Sports Park playground. The pond is literally a couple steps from the playground. It is extremely difficult to watch multiple toddlers preschoolers at that park, as there are pillars and other obstructions in the way of the view. I moved here 31/2 years ago, and have been saying that pond is a disaster waiting to happen since the beginning. It is a stupid place for a pond, an irresponsible place, a poorly thought out place and a dangerous place. Such a tragedy, Tarda Wilson wrote to the Coloradoan on Facebook. XXX Lady Blanks said, "I have read from someone who was friends with the brothers that he was impaled by his friends lying. They talked about how Bart wanted to go to Mexico. Why did he even kill his family in the first place? Why did he have to lie like that, and why did he put his friend in this mess as well? I'm just so confused and disgusted from the fact that there are people who are willing to kill their families." J0057 said, "A survivor, on the deck of the Ms. Estonia, after it capsized in a storm, killing 852 of the 989 people on board. Here is a story of what happened in the few minutes in which the ship sank. Survival that night was a very tight race, and savagely simple. People who started early and moved fast had some chance of winning. People who started later hesitated for any reason had no chance at all. Action paid. Contemplation did not. The mere act of getting dressed was enough to condemn people to death, and although many of those who escaped to the water succumbed to the cold, most of the ultimate winners endured the ordeal completely naked or in their underwear. The survivors all seem to have grasped the nature of this race, the first stage of which involved getting outside to the Deck 7 promenade without delay. There was no God to turn to for mercy. There was no government to provide order. Civilization was ancient history, Europe a faint and faraway place. Inside the ship, as the hill increased, even the most primitive social organization, the human chain, crumbled apart. Love only slowed people down. A pitiless clock was running. The ocean was completely in control." Kank said, "The Lady of Silence. Hirwana Barraza, former luchadora and serial killer. She strangled old ladies by pretending to work for the government. Sad story. She was sold to some dude as a sex slave for 3 beers when she was 12 until her stepdad found her at 17. Ended up with 4 failed marriages and 4 kids and worked doing odd jobs as a laundress or cleaner or something. Then started killing and robbing old ladies if they pissed her off cause they reminded her of her abusive mom. Sad and fucked up story." Tinkerman said, I've posted this before. A politician at an election rally. Last photo of Indian Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. Taken moments before a suicide bomber, wearing orange flowers, lower left, also on the inset, top left, hugged him bent down and touched his feet and detonated her bomb. Edit, last 2 frames of the film. https://iconic.files.wordpress.com/012/rajiv_s/raparambidu009_3-2066-2-00606-207-copy.jpg. Edit 2, you that Anand dude, thanks for the correction. Twaharangranap said. This photo of a scuba diver. What you're seeing is a normal photo of a scuba diver, but in the background you can see another diver behind them booking it for the ocean floor, and on the right-hand side of the image, there's a prone figure, Tina Watson, about 100 feet underwater, unconscious or likely already dead. Tina was visiting Australia on her honeymoon with her new husband Gabe Watson, also a diver, who convinced her to get certified despite Tina being very nervous and uncomfortable underwater. During an open ocean dive that was far too advanced for her limited experience, Tina experienced an equipment malfunction and drowned. Her husband Gabe is, at best, an arrogant, incompetent, lying piece of shit who exaggerated his abilities as a certified rescue diver and was unable to save his wife when she began exhibiting signs of distress. At worst, he's a cold-blooded murderer who deliberately shut off her air supply until she passed out and then allowed her to drown. He gave 16 different accounts of the incident, which occurred shortly after he requested that Tina make him her sole life insurance beneficiary. On the advice of her father, Tina didn't change her policy, but she told Gabe that she had. After being charged with Tina's murder, Gabe pleaded guilty to manslaughter and was sentenced to 4.5 years in prison. His sentence was suspended after only 18 months. He is now back in Alabama. Whatever you believe happened beneath the surface, the photograph is chilling. Wikipedia. Dateline coverage. Cassophile podcast episode. Edit, words, links. Trauma Guy 86 said. Jesus, that Wikipedia link. Husband stated he had an ear problem that prohibited him from going deeper to save her, and that there was nothing in his training as a rescue diver that included how to get someone in trouble to the surface. I've only been scuba diving a couple times so I'm fairly ignorant, but isn't getting someone in trouble to the surface a huge part of rescue diving? And when you have an ear condition that prohibits you from going deep underwater, wouldn't scuba diving end up pretty low on the list of activities? Edit, comment above was removed. It was the death murder of Tina Watson. There is a pic you can Google that shows Tina's unconscious dead body on the ocean floor incidentally captured by another diver. Mariana 96 has said. Being a rescue diver means you're certified to rescue someone in trouble and get them to the surface. During my training female 135 pounds and 5 feet 6, had to get my instructor who was pretending to be passed out, Malaya like 195 pounds and 6 feet 1, from 65 feet deep to the surface. That exercise is literally part of the training to get the rescue diver license. He killed her and got away with it. Redreen 17 said. There was probably so much going through the kid's head. Acting normal until he could call somewhere where was far away from his friend was clearly the right move. But on top of scared, it must have been so devastating. Up until the moment he showed them the bodies of his parents, the guy was his friend. He has all of these nice, normal memories of him which don't really fit this horror he's staring at. But same guy. And that scene must have seemed so unreal. Wrapping your brain around that, and having to do it really quickly, must have been so much. And it's just all so sad. These people are dead. His friend, that he knew when he hadn't murdered anyone, is kind of gone already, and he's about to have to call the police and report a murder. I can see staying calm, acting normal until you can get out of fear. I can also see finding yourself in a daze trying to process what the fuck you just saw. I almost understand taking a picture with a friend because part of you wants to pretend it's not real. Wants to save that moment before the world crashes down. De Vietnamelenkamp said. I had to use a similar tactic when I was in high school. At homecoming dance, went into the restroom and there was a couple of other kids from my class and they're smoking. One kid, Tommy, goes, "Hey, Dave, check this out." Pulls out a handgun from his jacket. "I'm gonna kill Sean." Apparently they were plotting on the best time to kill Sean at the dance. I kept my cool, somehow. I said that's not a good idea to kill him here. Too many people around, you will be caught immediately. Plus, the cops are already here because someone was fighting in the parking lot. That last part was a lie. He kinda shrugged, and says I guess I'll wait till later. Definitely going to follow him home, maybe do a drive-by on him. I agreed that was a much better idea. Got out of there and narsed on his ass first thing. Luckily, the teacher, chaperone, I told never brought me into it, just said he got word. He's was a real one. Cops got him before he could do anything, and he ended up going to juvie or something and I never saw him at school again. Liquidio said. The Kremers Froon photos. Two photogenic Dutch girls traveling in Panama. They go hiking in the jungle and never return. Weeks later their backpack and some body fragments are found miles away in another mountain valley. In the backpack is a camera containing photos of them happily hiking up the trail. Then a mysteriously deleted photo. Then multiple somewhat random photos from days later, at night, somewhat randomly framed, with only hints that the girls are actually behind the camera, apart from a photo of the hair on the back of one of their heads. Is she dead? Sleeping? Where are they and how did they get there? And was it an accident or foul play? https://caudicus.blogs.com/2019/1-the-disappearance-of-f-chris-kremers-and_1 has its own subreddit r Kremers Froon. MT-838,373 said. I dug through this case a while back. The most popular theory is that one of the girls got hurt and the other got hurt or lost trying to go back for help. When people think of hiking paths they think of well-maintained and traveled paths. What these girls were hiking were not well-maintained paths. They have areas of dense foliage and strong streams that you cross using monkey bridges. As for the photos, my first theory is that one of the girls used her phone camera flash to see what was around her at night. Either she heard animals and was scaring them away or she was severely dehydrated and hallucinating. You can drink jungle water but you will most likely get sick if you're not used to it. The other theory that I read online which seems more plausible. Whichever girl had the phone could see people searching in the distance and was using the flash to try and alert them. Either way, being lost, scared, tired, hungry and dehydrated can cause anyone to become irrational. One big misconception is people commenting on the bleached bones. There were articles mentioning that the remains found were bleached. So people thought actual bleach was used to bleach the bones. What most likely happened is that the bones were bleached by the sun and since they were missing near the equator the sunlight would be stronger and could bleach the bones quicker than usual. I doubt this was foul and most likely a tragic accident. There are a lot interesting bits of information about this case but pretty much all of them have a reasonable explanation. Hiking is fun but it can be dangerous if you're not prepared. Even straying 10 or 20 feet off a designated path can lead to being disoriented. If you decide to go off path then just be prepared to get lost. Hendrik Rocks 2488 said. This was the last picture taken of Dale Earnhardt. It's weird because the race was televised and 10-15 million people were watching at the time, but this is the last one that shows him as a person and not just a car. This is a replay of the crash along with an onboard roof. He didn't have an onboard camera view, and the half speed doesn't do justice as how hard and fast it was hitting the wall head-on at 190 miles per hour. He was the face and living legend of what was the second most popular sport at the time, and 20 years later fans who were watching at the time still haven't gotten over watching their hero die live on TV. Edit. I appreciate that this is bringing up a lot of memories. I really got introduced to death by being a NASCAR fan, but fortunately since this accident nobody has passed away since. Including from this, which happened in the same race 19 years later. The replays at the end are still hard to watch and legit gave me the same anxiety Dale gave me until they announced he was stable like 2 hours later. Natural Imbecility said. They were extremely close friends. I've read and heard a lot of interviews with Marlon over the years since then. He was absolutely crushed. Even as a driver, I don't think he was really ever the same after that. I feel equally bad for Kenny Schroeder, the driver of the M&M's car in that pic. He was the first one to Dale's car, and as soon as he looked in, he knew he was gone. Then he did an interview immediately after, and tried his best to not give any information, claiming I don't know how bad it was, I'm not a doctor. He clearly didn't want to be doing the interview and just wanted to get to his hauler, likely to grieve the fact that Earnhardt was gone. Good Lord, Choke and Abom said. If you're British, and of a certain age, you'll probably be as haunted by this grainy image as I am. I still distinctly remember the first time I saw it. At the time, James Bulger was only missing, and it was regarded as a cause for optimism that he was last seen with other children. The truth was far worse than anyone imagined, and still inspires a visceral reaction unlike any other crime in my lifetime. Noggin Ifloggin said. And their sentence was that they were jailed until they were 18, though more put into a rehabilitation program meant for youths that shoplifted or keyed cars, not tortured a child to death. Then they were put into basically a witness protection program because of a fear of vigilantes. They've lived this way for the last 20 years. One of the boys, John Venables, has been in and out of trouble for child porn charges and keeps outing his identity. It's such a horrific case. Alkalian said. That story is so bananas. After Chapman came back and killed him, he laid down next to his copy of Catcher in the Rye, fully expecting to be absorbed into the book. After he was arrested and the cops were asking him why he killed Lennon, he basically said, I don't know. Edit. A few edits to what I said. He may have not laid down by his book, but he did expect to essentially become Holden Caulfield and would end up in the Catcher in the Rye. Also, he said he killed Lennon for a variety of reasons. He was Christian and Lennon said the Beatles were bigger than Jesus and Imagine There's No Heaven, thought he was a phony, wanted to become famous by killing someone famous, wanted to save the children by eliminating a bad influence, etc. But when he was arrested and sitting in the cop car, he was kind of in shock that the whole thing didn't go down as he expected and couldn't answer the question of why, as everyone was freaking out, and even said he was a Beatles fan afterwards. He was extremely mentally ill and constantly hallucinated tiny people that he would rule over and that he put in charge of his budget. He was also doing a bunch of acid. An actual chicken, said the imaginary people were made up when he was a kid and carried on well into adulthood. He was a cruel god to them too. Whenever he was upset about something, he'd lash out and kill several of them. Again, he even imagined this as an adult. At one point he stopped his interactions with them for a period of time. A few years, I think, then they came back like a year before he shot Lennon. During this time they went from imaginary people who worshipped him and never questioned his decisions to imaginary people running a democratic parliament, I guess. Like they'd vote and discuss among themselves or with him on whatever was happening, finances, trips, whether he should kill John Lennon. And this is all in his head. He's having to discuss democratically with his imaginary people, and when he was considering killing Lennon they actually were telling him not to. Plantain said. I followed that case while it was happening and it was one of the craziest in American history. First you had Jody say that she wasn't even there. Then she said she was there but didn't see anything. Then it was ninjas. She actually said it was ninjas at one point. Finally she decided on I accidentally broke his new camera and he got so mad at me I had to stab him 29 times, run into the next room and grab his gun, then come back and shoot him all in self-defense. Jodi Arias was the most hated woman in America for years. Soy Bun said. This picture of the bed in a child's room. Sad story of a missing 4-year-old later found dead from asphyxiation wedged at the foot of her bed between mattress and frame. You can barely make out the little bulge of her body in that pic, but you can. The picture of the bed ran on the news and the mom did interviews while sitting on it. There's more graphic pics of what it looked like with the blankets removed and the body uncovered, but I'm gonna go ahead and not link that. Her body wasn't found after professionals and dogs searched the room, it was found once the smell got bad enough. Also, I'm pretty sure I read someone slept in the bed during that time, but not sure on that. Andromeda 321 said. This photo always gets to me somehow. Just a couple of astronauts posing in zero gravity, happy to have such an incredible opportunity, like astronauts often do. Meanwhile they have no idea that their space shuttle is irreparably damaged, and in fact will be dead in a few days during re-entry, which was considered safe until then. It's the crew for Columbia, for those who don't know, whose tiles were damaged during the launch of the shuttle into space by foam. No one knew how bad the damage was until it disintegrated. Edit. Some are disagreeing with my final sentence because there were some engineers concerned about the foam during launch who thought additional photographs should be taken to confirm any damage or lack thereof, which were not in fact taken. I'm still standing by my statement because while this was definitely a flaw that NASA management downplayed any potential risks, there's no evidence that anyone knew the thing was gonna burn up on re-entry or that this was a potential mode of failure, and it's more like they should have had methods in place to see this was a serious potential risk. More info here. Even if they had, there are serious questions as to whether the crew could have been saved, because real life is not a Hollywood film. NASA concluded in 2003 it wasn't possible, and even the best potential plan sounds pretty wild. Link with more info. Crabcock Bay said, "It's true. And with so many babies and young children, they may not have had the opportunity to do that. These pictures, especially of the babies and young children, are painfully beautiful. They really speak to how much they were loved and wanted, and the pictures were taken by parents and families who wanted one image of their families complete before they were incomplete again forever. They were taken with siblings so parents could have one picture of all of their children. They were taken dressed perfectly, with toys, some posed sleeping peacefully, cradled in loving arms. We still do this today. Babies that die in their first hours or days, we can't always take, or emotionally think to take, pictures. Yet the loss that a parent feels will be forever. And unfortunately, we are also human and images in our memories fade. The idea of your child's face fading from your mind is truly unbearable. I've never experienced this kind of loss, but even imagining it is making me tear up. These are not pictures fascinated with death or morbidity. These are pictures taken out of love and an awareness that their lives will never be complete without these people again, and they want one final, first, way to keep their loved faces in their place in their families and memories.